Welcome to the deep dive. So if you're working in, well, pretty much any professional role today, you are probably very familiar with workplace pressure.
Intimately familiar, I'd say.
Right. We're talking about the tight deadlines, shifting markets, constantly constrained resources. It's part of the territory now.
And for decades, the standard response from leadership has been to treat stress like it's some kind of individual problem. They'd say, just take a deep breath, or have you tried mindfulness? It basically delegates the entire issue back to the employee.
As if it's their fault, their problem to fix privately.
Exactly.
And that approach, it completely misses the point, doesn't it?
Our mission today is to really dig into sources that redefine how leaders should be looking at this.
Right.
We want to move beyond just surviving stress to, actually growing through it. What are the practical steps leaders can take to turn all that anxiety into, well, momentum?
And what's so fascinating is this core paradox we found in the sources. Pressure, it's an inevitable part of business. It's an input. It's always going to be there.
Always. But the way a leader responds to that input, that can be the single biggest factor in team engagement, in performance, and even long-term loyalty.
Okay, so the key mistake then is what? Leaders just thinking they can ignore it.
Yeah, pretty much. They assume it's just background noise, that their team will just handle it. They don't realize that how the team experiences stress is a direct reflection of their own leadership style.
Let's unpack that then, the consequences. Because when you talk about unaddressed chronic stress, it's so much bigger than just one person feeling burned out.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about a serious performance failure.
How so?
Well, when that stress is constant and crucially unacknowledged by leadership, it does more than just make people tired. It actively erodes the very foundation of a high-performing team.
So it's not just about productivity dropping.
Productivity tanks, yes, but the real danger is that it chips away at trust. It detaches your best people from their sense of purpose. It's like a performance collapse, but in slow motion.
And I'm guessing that collapse starts with what the sources call emotional engagement. We hear that term a lot, but what does it actually look like in practice when it's healthy?
Emotional engagement it's basically the discretionary effort people give because they're personally invested, not just because it's on a task list.
So they want to do it, they're not just complying.
Precisely. When people feel psychologically safe, they go the extra mile because they genuinely want to hit that goal. They speak up, they share new ideas, they bring their whole self to the problem because they trust the environment can handle it.
That sounds like the ideal state, total resilience. But the sources point to a tipping point, a moment where all of that starts to, disappear.
It vanishes. And it happens when the stress becomes chronic and leaders just fail to step in or even acknowledge what's happening.
So at that point, people just switch into survival mode.
Exactly. They stop contributing fully and start focusing on self-protection. Think about it. They stop sharing their best ideas. They start playing small to minimize risk.
Or they build up walls between themselves and their teammates.
Yes. So unmanaged stress isn't just a wellness issue. It's a measurable performance problem because it kills that discretionary effort. You get compliance, sure, but you lose all commitment.
That distinction is huge. Compliance versus commitment. So if we accept that pressure is here to stay, the goal isn't to get rid of it.
No, you can't.
The goal is to reshape how the team experiences it. The sources lay out 5 specific actions for this. Let's start with the first 2, which are all about communication.
Exactly. The intervention has to be early and it has to be open.
Okay, action number 1, acknowledge pressure openly. This feels a little counterintuitive, right? A lot of leaders worry that if they talk about the stress, they'll just make it worse.
They do. They think, if I pretend things are fine, maybe they'll be fine. But the research shows that pretense is actually what makes the stress spike.
How does that work?
It creates this cognitive dissonance. Everyone on the team knows the deadline is crazy. They know the budget is tight. But if the leader is acting like it's just another Tuesday, it completely undermines trust. The team starts wondering, does our leader not see this? Are they that disconnected? Or are they hiding something from us?
And it forces everyone into silence. So the transparency, weirdly, is what creates safety.
Precisely. You don't eliminate the pressure, you just normalize the reality of it. When a leader actually names the stress, it opens the door for a real conversation.
A productive conversation.
Right. Instead of people suffering in silence, a good leader steps in and says, look, we are in a tight sprint right now. The market is pushing us hard, so let's check in on capacity and make sure we are all prioritizing the exact right work.
And maybe even ask, what can we drop for the next 2 weeks?
Exactly. That shifts the whole conversation from individual anxiety to a collective systemic action plan.
That makes so much sense. And it leads right into the second action, which is about finding the why. It's create meaning, not just tasks.
Stress feels 100 times heavier when it's disconnected from purpose. Our brains they need a narrative.
Yeah.
We handle hardship better when we understand the story we're in.
I think we've all felt that.
Yeah.
That grinding feeling of just busy work. You're putting in these long hours on something that feels completely pointless.
It's the worst kind of stress. So leaders have to be relentless about providing context. Why does this project matter? How does it connect to the bigger mission? What's the impact we're going to have?
And providing that context is what can actually turn that anxiety into motivation.
It gives the effort an emotional weight that energizes people instead of draining them. The sources had this fantastic example.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of a leader just saying, I need you to compile these detailed metrics, which is a grueling task.
Right.
The reframed conversation is, look, this isn't just another report. This report is the key piece of evidence that's going to help us unlock our next round of funding. And that funding guarantees we can launch Project X.
The one we've all been working toward.
Exactly. Suddenly, the stress of that report is connected to this huge, tangible, shared win.
So if the first half of this is about talking openly and connecting the mission, the second half, according to the sources, is about behaving openly.
Yes. This is where leadership modeling becomes everything.
Which brings us to action number 3. Model regulation, not reactivity.
The team will always mirror the leader.
I want to get into the weeds on this one, though. We all know the principle. If the leader is chaotic or visibly overwhelmed, that energy spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
But what if the leader can't be calm? I mean, isn't pretending to be calm just fake?
That is such a critical question, and the sources are clear. Modeling regulation is not about faking serenity. It's about being visibly intentional about how you process pressure.
What does that look like?
A regulated leader might say, deliberately wait 15 minutes before replying to a really triggering email.
Instead of firing back immediately.
Right. Or they might use language like, I hear the urgency here. I'm taking a moment to process the best next step. They're demonstrating that clear thinking is more valuable than speed.
So it's not about hiding your emotions. It's about showing your process for managing them. The team sees you take a pause, filter, and then respond systemically, not just emotionally.
You got it. When the pressure is on, that leader's calm signals safety to everyone. It's this powerful nonverbal message that says, the situation is under control, we have a plan, and I've got your back.
Okay, so if modeling regulation is about the sprint, action 4 is about the recovery, making restorative practices normal.
And this is where so many leaders fall down. They see recovery as a luxury, a nice to have, not a critical part of the operation.
It has to be built into the culture, not just something you do if you have time.
It has to be structural. It means not just telling people to take breaks, but celebrating when people take their vacation time. It means actively encouraging the off switch.
And this is a big one, normalizing saying no when the priorities are just unrealistic.
That's the key. High-performing leaders get that capacity is finite. They create a culture where saying, if I take on Project X, I have to drop Project Y, isn't seen as resistance. It's seen as strategic.
It's optimization.
Exactly. As the sources point out, resilience only follows when that space to reset is absolutely guaranteed. It flips the whole script from push until you break to strategic recovery makes us faster.
It's like a structural defense against burnout. You're preparing the team to handle the next wave of stress because they know recovery isn't just allowed, it's expected.
It is. If you don't build that in, you're not building resilience. You're just building up debt that will eventually come due as turnover and lost engagement.
Okay, that brings us to the final action, which feels like the most structural one. Because a leader can be calm and preach about taking breaks, but if the system itself is broken, the stress is just going to keep coming back.
This is action number 5. Address systemic stressors. And this distinction is so important. Some stress isn't about the work itself. It's about the broken internal systems that make the work harder than it needs to be.
We've all seen these, the classic culprits. We're talking about endless meetings that kill any chance for deep work.
Meeting bloat is a huge one.
Or conflicting priorities coming from different directions. Or, my personal favorite, no clarity on who actually owns a decision.
So you have people redoing work or chasing 5 different approvals for one small thing. These are all unnecessary sources of strain.
And the key takeaway here, for you listening, is that if your goal is to truly reduce stress, You can't just tell people to do more yoga.
Those are just surface-level fixes. Leaders have to look in the mirror at the systems they've built or allowed to exist and fix what's adding all that unnecessary friction.
So leading through stress requires process, not just positivity. You can't just cheerlead your way out of a broken org chart.
Not at all. But if you do fix the systems and you embed those other 4 actions, then pressure stops being the enemy. When it's harnessed correctly, it actually sharpens focus and sparks innovation.
It creates momentum. So, okay, we fix the system, we fix the culture. What are the specific conditions where that unavoidable pressure leads to positive momentum instead of burnout?
The sources outline 5 clear conditions.
Let's list them out.
Okay. First, the pressure has to be proportionate to the team's actual capacity. Second, it has to be connected to clear meaning, like we talked about.
Action 2.
Third, it has to be met with active support mentorship, psychological safety. Fourth, it requires proper training. You can't just throw people in the deep end.
And the 5th condition, the one that requires real intentional leadership focus.
It must be properly resourced. And that's more than just money. It's time, it's tools, it's people.
So if you assign a high-pressure task, you have to give the team padding for setbacks, access to experts, and protection from other competing priorities.
Yes, proper resourcing is a structural commitment. It tells the team their energy is being spent on the right challenge, not on fighting unnecessary internal battles.
So the end goal here for a leader is to build a robust operating system that protects team energy and keeps everyone aligned, even when the pressure gets turned way up.
It shifts the whole mindset from just reacting to the symptoms of stress to proactively leading through pressure with purpose.
This has been a really powerful deep dive.
Yeah.
The reality is, stress is always going to be part of business. The tight deadlines, they're not going away.
Never.
But the chaos, the burnout, the disengagement, those don't have to be. It all comes down to leadership intervention and smart culture design.
And here's a final thought for you to take with you. If your team truly mirrors your energy and the systems you create, what is one specific systemic stressor that you are currently modeling or tolerating? And what is one concrete process change, like clarifying one area of ownership or cutting recurring meeting time by 20% that you could implement tomorrow to break that pattern and start leading with purpose?
Something to think about as you get ready for your team's next sprint. Thank you for supplying the sources for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.